this is organized crime. Human rights means nothing to these guys. You know, when they have battles, they slaughter each other left and right. You never find the bodies. Rock machine in our country is rock machine against Hell's Angels, kind of big. And in your country, you got rock machine and Hell's Angels, but then you got the actual mafia still really operating. And then you got all this Colombian and Latin American gangs. I want to know how you are doing, boy.
I'm okay. I'm concerned about the live stream because it's showing the live stream from several minutes ago, from a while ago. So watch the side camera. Oh, no. Okay, now it's showing it if I do that. I wonder if the camera has something wrong. I'm okay with it, but I'll share in a second.
Just be careful on yourself. We want you for a long time. You know, like I want you to be married for a long time.
Okay.
You got girls and a husband.
I do have girls.
Yes, you do.
You like this? I do like that. You don't want it? Okay.
Hey, Dan.
How you doing? Hi, Ann. How you doing? A little stiff today. All the dampness, you know. And apparently we're in another funeral. I think it's tomorrow. I don't know. Pardon? That's the one. But you understand, it's going to be once or twice a week. So I told her a long time ago, there'll come a time when you might, she was so working, you'll have to pick and choose which funeral.
I share a
Well,
little
luckily
bit.
she's retired, so we pay her, she knows a lot of people. We have to.
I'm sharing a little.
She knows the families, the grandparents, the kids. We can't ignore them.
Okay.
In their time.
You don't get sick on us.
We just show up.
trying not to. I'm trying to be okay.
Okay.
That's what. And I think
Lots.
so that is yeah. I think that's what's gonna happen. Okay. I will tell them that you asked me to do one. Oh, okay. Okay. Do you wanna sit here? Maybe if you're in the middle, like right in the front. Yeah, I think that's actually.
No, I mean, this is the kind of weather you get slippery, right?
Yeah. And I'm a little slow, like I'm probably gonna be slower. But I'm okay.
I was really shocked that there was like.
Should I put it on right now? Nice. I love your sparkle. Maybe I'll leave them and then I'll take this.
Yeah.
Donation thing. That was very sweet.
I'm actually ready to go right now. It's gonna happen tomorrow morning when we wake up. We're gonna make it.
That's
More
so.
expenses.
You know what? The safeguards and it takes time because that was, because I also put Elizabeth on.
Yeah.
Some
Right.
extent.
But you're doing the work of the Lord. You're welcome. You
Not
are.
always enough.
Well, no, none of us are, but all that matters is you try.
Anyway, I better just end it there.
High five.
I'm sorry for the Rabbi. From Pilgrim, Ann Arbor.
Harper,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
What did you think she was from?
Where have I been?
From London, no.
We haven't seen her in a while.
Rabbi Dressler. She's on sabbatical. Lucky ducky for her. But I talked to her today. She's all good.
I haven't talked to Joe. You don't talk.
I'm surprised your congregation let her go. They really love her.
Well, oh no, she'll come back. Yeah, she's just gone for a couple months. Well, her daughter is having a baby anytime.
I know, but sometimes when rabbis really well loved, as much as the congregation, they hate it when they go to rabbis and rabbis.
Right.
Rabbis gotta go.
They gotta go, but then they come back and they're even better every time. So
She's well loved.
she is well loved. Yeah,
She's a good friend of mine. Yeah. Shabbat Shalom to you all. It's been a few weeks since I have seen you in person. Although I saw everybody online because I did watch the services. Wow, Harvey Kessler, if he's not here, but he might be in the lobby. Hi, Gav. Shabbat Shalom. But if he's online, I just want this on record because we're recording this. He did a phenomenal job, and I was really sick, and I was listening to it and watching it, and I thought, I can get sick more often because Harvey Kessler can step in like this. Wow.
A long time ago, I don't know why, he steps up his game. He just doesn't throw this stuff together.
No.
Stu's the same way. They'll take a week, 2 weeks.
Well, he didn't have that.
Get it down to a science.
He had about 24 hours. So he took my notes and he showed up and he was like the MC fill-in for the rabbi of the decade. So it was pretty amazing. It was great. Oh, I was so happy with it. It mattered to me. So I'm trying to get my guitar on. I'm struggling. I'll get it on, but I may have to disconnect. No, I may have to disconnect the wire. So if it makes a noise, don't be alarmed. I'm okay. This is, I've had a medical problem, but this is not part of it, Gabrielle. I often struggle with this kind of thing. So my friend, if you recognize her over there, Rabbi Cantor Gabrielle Pescador from the Reconstructionist Congregation of Ann Arbor, has come here. She had international travel tonight through the tunnel, and all the snow that's coming down, and she came here to take me home tonight. So I will be riding home with Gabrielle. And so in order for me to be here tonight and do a good job for you and then do a good job all weekend as I recover from what I'm experiencing, I'm going to leave right after the service is over, which I never do. But I'm doing that so that I can show up and be here for the school and I can be here for the funeral. You'll save some cake. I might like that. And I will share later in the service a little bit about what's going on. So I don't want you to be, concerned about me, but I will share. Yes, Audrey. There is not Tot Shabbat tomorrow. I have decided that our families would understand if I cannot be there. Right. They may be really, really happy to not have to put the gear on and everything. I'm so glad I mentioned it then, because I remember that you had mentioned you were going to come, and it's a little. Yeah. So I won't be here for Tot Shabbat tomorrow. No Tot Shabbat, but I'm happy to see you too. I'll talk about it later. Yeah. Okay, but I would like to get us going with our Shabbat service, and so we can start on page 130. We'll greet Shabbat with Psalm 95, and then we'll light our Shabbat candles. Lechun Adonai ידיו יצרו, בואו נשתחווה ונקרא נברכת לפני אדוני עושנו, כי הוא אלוהינו ואנחנו עמדי טוב וצאן ידו. אילאי אילאי נברכה לפני אדוני עושנו, כי הוא אלוהינו ואנחנו עמד איתו בצאן ידו. And I would love it if someone would volunteer to come up and light the Shabbat candles. We'll turn back a little bit in our, and we will go to page 120. So, oh, Rabbi Gabrielle, would you like to take the honor tonight of lighting the Shabbat candles? That would be wonderful. Oh, Audrey. And you're the chair of the ritual committee, so you make the decision. Yes. Yeah, so you light this one first, and then you can use that to light these because they can be difficult. This really is what can be difficult. Yeah. There you go. There it goes. It's coming.
אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו להדליק נר של שבת.
Amen. Thank you, Gabrielle. I appreciate you. I continue on page 124, and I'd like it if you'd read with me. Maybe I can do one line, and then you can do the next line. So I'll do the odd numbered lines at the bottom of the page, and you can do the even numbered ones. May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship. May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. Amen. And let's turn now to page 134. Zamru l'Adonai bechino, bechino b'kol zimra, b'chatzot zirot v'kol shofar, hariu lifnei HaMelech Adonai.
Zamru l'Adonai b'chinor, b'chinor, v'kol zimra. B'chatzot zerot, v'kol shofar. Harihu lifnei HaMelech Adonai. Ay, ay, la, 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 la. Ay, la, 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 la. Ay, la, 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 la.
And now we'll welcome our Shabbat bride. And we sing Lecha Dodi on page 138. And as I always remind you, this is the moment when Shabbat kind of really comes. I mean, we light the candles and Shabbat comes. And it gets dark. Well, first it gets dark out. And even if we don't light the candles, Shabbat comes. And but then we light the candles and Shabbat comes. But what is it to really arrive? It's when we walk into a place and we bring with us everything that matters the most to us. And so our Shabbat bride comes, and she brings her entourage with her, and they come in the room, and they come through that door over there. And sometimes they also come with a friend of ours who happens to walk in. It's happened many times before, where someone walks right in as soon as we stand up and turn toward the door, and we greet that person as well. So I'll ask you, when we get to the last verse, Bo'e v'shalom, that we all rise and we face the bride. But just as you're walking and greeting someone, if you can imagine the entourage coming through, at the end of that verse, you can turn around and face the front again. People never really quite know what to do, so I'm telling you. And you can sit down because she'll be up here, and her angels will be sitting amongst you, and they are very tired from their journey, and they want to sit down. So you're doing them a favor. Yes, so you may turn back around and sit down and leave a little space, pat the seat next to you, and you can invite an angel to come and sit next to you. And I'm sure they will be happy to do so.
Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. 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 Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, yishme'anu el hamiuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shem tiferet v'litila. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki hi mekor habracha, berosh mikdem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshavat tchila. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, yadadai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, yadadai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. He taught it, ki va'orek Shabbat Nekabela Lecha Dodi Likrakala Yadadai 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 B'nai Shabbat Nekabela. Boi v'shalom atedet bala gam b'simcha uv'tzola toch emunei am segula boi chala lecha dodi likrakala yadadai 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 B'nai Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi likrakala yadadai 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 B'nai Shabbat nekabela.
Page 140.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון מזמור שיר ליום השבת טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות עלי עשור ועלי נבל עלי היגיון בחינות מזמור שיר ליום השבת טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון מזמור שיר ליום השבת טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון.
And now let's tell the angels how much we appreciate them on page 142, and that they know that everyone who comes here will receive peace in this place, and they can be part of that.
Shalom Aleichem Malachei Hasharet Malachei Elyon Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Boachem l'shalom Malachei Hashalom Malachei Elyon Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Bachuni l'shalom Malachei Hashalom Malachei Elyon Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Tzeitkhem l'shalom Malachei Hashalom Malachei Elyon Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Please rise and we'll turn to page 144.
Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah Be'alma divrach hidutei v'yamlich malchutei B'chayechon uv'yomechon Uv'chayei dekol Beit Yisrael Bagala, bagala, uvizman karev ve'imru, Amen. Yeheshme Rabba Mevorach, Le'olam u'lalmei hamaya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach v'yishtabach, V'yitpa'ar v'yitroma v'yitnaseh, V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, Shemei Kudesha Barechu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, Tushbechata b'nechemata, Damiran be'alma, Ve'imru, Amen. Lai, la, lai, 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 lai. Lai, la, lai, 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 lai. Lai, la, lai, 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 la, lai, 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 lai. Lai, la, lai, 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 lai. Lai, la, lai, 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 la, lai, 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 lai. Lai, la, lai, 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 lai. Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach, Le'olam va'ed. HaMevorach, HaMevorach, Le'olam va'ed.
All right, you may be seated. We're on page 148, and the snow has come back tonight. I was so hopeful. It all melted, and there was rain, and then now there's snow again, and the night is still coming pretty early this time of year, but do you notice the days are getting longer? They are. And so we are still coming here and it's dark, but in a week, someday soon, if we fast forward the time, we will come and it will be light outside, and then we'll have the trouble of we're lighting the candles and it's still light out. Yes. Yep. We're already into February tomorrow. It's soon. It's going to happen faster than you know it. Yeah, so I love to think about this because the imagery here is so cool that God does this. God rolls it, and God rolls our planet Earth back and forth so that our seasons change. And we wouldn't be here as human beings if this phenomena did not exist, because we need the seasons to change, and we need the days to get longer and shorter, and the seasons to change so that we can grow, and that exactly, so that people can live around the world. This is such a beautiful, beautiful process that happens on our earth, and our prayers even reflect it. So if you'll look at the English, let's read the beginning part together, and then I'll go into the Hebrew, and I'll just invite you to read the English while I go into the Hebrew. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars and their heavenly courses according to plan. Now I'll go into the Hebrew, and you keep reading in English. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, umavi yom umehivi layla, umavdil ben yom uven layla, Adonai tzvaot shemo, El chai v'kayam tamid imloch aleinu, leolam va'ed. Baruch ata Adonai, hama'arif
Aravim. That was nice. I could hear the English with the Hebrew, and it was kind of a neat experience. We'll do that again sometime. Well, but there were people who were doing that. It was neat. I loved it. Yes. Okay, we're on page 150, and we'll thank God who loves us for God's love for us. Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limata Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shokbeinu V'kumenu nasiach b'chukecha V'nismak b'divrei Toratecha Uv'mitzvotecha le'olam v'hed Ki hem chayenu Ve'orech yameinu Uvahem negei yomam v'layla Negei yomam v'layla Ve'ahavatcha al tasir Mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael Ohev amo Yisrael. So if you would rise for our Shema on page 152, we can say this together. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. You may be seated. We'll continue on page 154. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha v'hayu hadavarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shirantam levanecha v'nibat bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha u'v'lechtecha b'derech uv'shokbecha uv'kumecha uv'shartam le'ot ayadecha v'hayu letotefot b'eineinecha uchtavtam amazuzot beitecha uv'isharecha leman tizkaru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'item kedoshim leloechem Ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Emet. Page 157. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. And that is where we kind of are right now in our Torah. We are in Parshat Bo, and the next week we're going to be actually
we're in Parshat Bo, and then in next week on Saturday morning, we're going to be chanting in the Torah, and that it'll be the section where we actually have the Micha Mocha. And so let's sing Micha Mocha, and we'll sing it together, but just knowing that next week we'll be singing it out of the Torah scroll. And so I hope you can all come. It's going to be a kind of a special service with the Song of the Sea, Shirat Hayam. So let's do it together. I lie, 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 I lie, 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 I lie, 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 lie. Micha mocha ba'elim Adonai, Micha mocha neheda b'kodesh, Norah tehilot osef eleh, Norah tehilot osef eleh. Malchutecha ahuv anacha, bokei hayom lifnei Moshe, Zeh Elianu ve'amru, Zeh Elianu ve'amru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Ay, ay, lie, 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 ay, lie, 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 ay, lie, 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 ay, lie, 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 lie. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. And we are on page 160 with our Hashkivenu prayer, and I am wondering who would like to sing a Hashkivenu that you don't know as well, or would you like to sing a Hashkivenu that you know better tonight? Are you wanting something newer, or are you wanting something older? And I don't know that one. Tracy always sings. Let's do the new one. Okay, let's do a new one. I've done this one a couple of times, but I haven't done it a lot. And so I would like to do it. And I also actually, we're going to come back to a more familiar one later. So, Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Shelter us beneath your wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim.
Porei Sukkot Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Amen.
And we're on page 162.
Yismechu v'malachutecha shomrei 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 Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malachutecha shomrei 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 Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Mekadesh Shevi Shabbat Kulam Yizbehu Vayitangu Metuvecha Shabbat Yislechu V'malachutecha Shomrei 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 Shabbat V'korei oneg Shabbat Yislechu V'malachutecha Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat v'hashvi'i ratzita bo v'kedashto Shabbat chemdat yamim oto karata Shabbat yislechu v'malachutecha Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat Yislechu v'malachutecha Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat Zecher למעשה וראשית Shabbat Zecher למעשה וראשית Shabbat יסלחו ומלכותך שומרי 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 Shabbat וקורא עונג Shabbat יסלחו ומלכותך שומרי 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 Shabbat וקורא עונג Shabbat.
A thought has blown the marketplace away. There is a song in the wind and joy in the trees. The Sabbath arrives in the world, scattering a song in the silence of the night. Eternity utters a day. So as we enter into our standing prayer, I'll ask you to stand in a moment. You can know that there is a song in the world today. We're kind of at the end of it because we're at the end of the time zones. We're toward the end. The international date line is somewhere in the Pacific Ocean, right? Is that right? And we're toward the end. Gabrielle knows these things. She can nod if I'm saying something that makes sense. But we're toward the end of it. So if you think about that, we're not really fully in the world of Shabbos until that happens somewhere out in the Pacific Ocean, maybe near Hawaii or something. And everyone in the world then has had Shabbat. I've heard of people flying in airplanes on Shabbat, and they're flying and they can see the sunset over and over and over and over. And when is Shabbat happening? It just happened, but now it's not happening. It's happening again. And so what a gift. They get to daven for hours. I would consider that a gift. Maybe others in the room would not. So it might be, well, they're probably not on the plane. These are probably Reformed Jews. So, okay, so we are, yeah, you'd be stuck at the airport, yeah. We're on page 164, and I'll ask you to stand up, and we will daven together a bit. Adonai sefatai tivtachu fi agi tehilatecha
Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, v'Konei Hakol, v'Zocher Chazdei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei v'Neihem, Lema'an Shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshiach u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye hakol, Atah Rab le'Hoshia. Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem, Mechalkel chayim b'chesed, Mechaye hakol b'rachamim rabim, Somek noflim v'rofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato lishenei afar, Micha mocha ba'al gevurot, Umido melach, Melech memit umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'emanat halachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kadoshim b'kol yom, Yahalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el hakadosh. You may be seated. Adonai, you set aside the seventh day for your name, the pinnacle of creation, and you blessed it above all other days, more sacred than all festival times. So it is written in your Torah, the heaven and the earth were finished in all their array. And on the seventh day God had completed the work that had been done, ceasing then on the seventh day from all of the work that God had done. Then God blessed the seventh day and made it holy and ceased from all of the creative work that God had chosen to do. Eloheinu v'Elohavoteinu v'imotenu, Netzei v'imnuchatenu, Kadshenu b'mitzvotecha, V'tein chelchenu b'toratecha. Our God and God of our ancestors, be pleased with our rest. Sanctify us with your mitzvot, and grant us a share in your Torah. Satisfy us with your goodness, and gladden us with your salvation. Purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, Adonai our God, grant as our heritage your holy Shabbat, that Israel who sanctifies your name may rest on it. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Page 175. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, and our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, shelcha levadcha b'yira na'avod, modim anachnu lach. We acknowledge with thanks that you are Adonai, our God, and the God of our ancestors forever.
On page 177, why don't you join me with the top reading on the top of page 177. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of our soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all of these and more we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shemcha ulechana elehodot. We're on page 178. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. 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 Baruch atah Adonai hamvarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. Yes.
We all read together that one in English because it's such a tenuous time in our world right now.
So the grant abundant peace part? Yeah, let's do that, but don't say the bracha at the end because we've already said the bracha, but we'll say it as an additional prayer. And normally I wouldn't get so hard on it, but my colleague is here, and she's going to tell on me. No, it actually is. It's not proper. We should. No, that's actually not the reason. But we've already said the bracha, but we can say the prayer, and we could lead right into Oseh Shalom, which would be really nice, and that's on 180. So let's read it, and then we'll get into Oseh Shalom. Grant abundant peace to Israel, your people, forever. For you are the sovereign God of all peace. May it be pleasing to you to bless your people Israel in every season and moment with your peace. Oseh Shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. 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 All right. That was beautiful. That was nice. That was a nice transition. Yiyu l'ratzon imchei fi v'hegion libi lefenecha Adonai tzorei v'go ali. That is the prayer directly in front of the Oseh Shalom, if you're still up in page 180. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. So this past week has been a bit difficult for me, and it's been a little bit deeply humbling for me because I experienced I think what is a pretty serious medical issue. And I want to be clear that a couple of weeks before that, I had a terrible cold. So I had a terrible cold, and then this past week, something in addition happened. It was a neurological situation, and we're still trying to understand what has gone on and what is happening. And thankfully, I want to assure you that the doctors do not believe it is a stroke. They do not believe that I have brain cancer or anything like that. And the good news was, because I spent about 8 hours at Henry Ford Hospital on Sunday, getting every test done imaginable that they could think of to give me, I found out that other than this problem I'm having in my brain,
I'm actually extremely healthy. My blood sugar is really good. My cholesterol is great. My blood pressure is wonderful. I am the picture of health. But I'm having this neurological problem. And I've been really struggling over the past week with this. And actually, in reflecting, I have actually been struggling for about a month with some symptoms, but I kept attributing them to other things. Even like, am I having a spiritual experience? This is kind of crazy, and I would talk to Gabrielle about it, and she didn't know that I was experiencing some strange symptoms. But I have been struggling, and it appears, and so I'm going to be very clear about this because this is how rumors start. I want you to know this. It appears that I likely had a seizure while I was sleeping, but we don't know if that is the case yet. Tomorrow, I am going to see a very highly regarded neurologist in Detroit, and he is a Jewish doctor. He's a member, I've heard this through the grapevine, he's a member at Temple Israel. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I heard. He has come with high recommendations by several people in the Jewish community here in Windsor and also in Greater Detroit. And so I think I'm seeing the right person. And I don't want to be secretive about this because you are my community and you allow me to care for you. And this is a moment for me to allow you into my life and to care for me. And I think it's really, really important that I allow for that. Over the past few days, I've had the support of my family who have stepped up to care for me, and also members of our community who have reached out and sent cards and asked others how I'm doing. Some people have texted me a lot and called me, and other people have texted Sarah and said, I don't want to bother Devorah. I know she needs rest, but how is she doing? You know, it's all care, and I need all of that. I need space to heal, and I also need to know that people care. And this experience has reminded me of something I think that we all know deep down, that our life brings moments when we need other people. And in these moments, it is our community that sustains us. So in this week's Parsha, Parshat Bo, we hear the story of the final steps in the Israelites' journey out of Egypt, out of their narrow place, their Mitzrayim, the narrow places. But their liberation wasn't just a journey of miracles. There were miracles, but it's not just a journey of miracles. It was also a story of community and resilience. The Israelites did not leave Egypt alone. They leaned on one another, and they carried their burdens together. And in that spirit, we are reminded that we are meant to walk through life's challenges together. We are not meant to leave Mitzrayim alone. Now, one of the most difficult aspects of healing, whether physical or emotional or spiritual, is that it rarely happens on our timeline. And if you can ask Miriam Goldstein, yes, last week when I just didn't show up for work and something was wrong, and she had the school to run all by herself, it also doesn't happen on other people's timelines when these things happen. I think the Israelites surely wanted their liberation to come faster than it did. And so do we when we face uncertainty in our lives or when we witness someone else struggling. But Parshat Bo teaches us that transformation takes time. Why 10 plagues? Why delays and setbacks? Well, God chose to do it that way. We could answer that way. But I think that true freedom also requires inner change, and that takes time. And it's not just an external release. The Israelites needed time to shed their slave mentality, to trust in one another and in God. And healing is similar.
There are moments when we want quick fixes, but often it doesn't work that way. Usually there's not just a magic pill. At least there's not a magic pill that doesn't have side effects. So healing requires patience, and it requires trust. And sometimes it requires hard work and courage. And as I prepare for my appointment tomorrow, I'm reminded of this truth, because I don't know exactly what lies ahead. I don't know what the doctor will tell me, and I don't even know if he'll have answers for me right away. But I'm attempting to trust the process, and I trust the people walking with me, and that includes all of you. Do you know who Rabbi Nachman of Breslov is? Does everyone know who that is? I know that Rabbi Gabrielle knows. Rabbi Nachman of Breslov was a Hasidic master. Was he the grandson of the Baal Shem Tov? Is that? Something along those lines, I should know. But he was of the Hasidic movement. You look at Chabad as part of the Hasidic movement, the movement of joy, of celebrating a relationship with God and miracles in life. And Rabbi Nachman of Breslov's teachings have acted as a source of comfort to me in this situation and in other situations that are difficult in my life. He famously said, "Lo tityaesh asur tityaesh," which loosely means, in my own tradition and to modern lingo, despair is not an option. Lo tityaesh asur tityaesh. Despair is not an option. Because he knew that life's challenges could feel overwhelming, but he taught that even when we don't feel strong, even when we don't know what the next step is, moving forward in the smallest of ways is an act of faith and defiance against despair. Such an act of defiance doesn't mean feeling joyful or whole or healed right away, or even a fake it till you make it attitude. I don't always like the fake it till you make it attitude. Balking at despair, rejecting despair, defiance of despair, it's more real than a fake it till you make it. I think it means getting out of bed when you can, and doing what you can, and being healthy and mindful about that, and being honest when it can't happen, and asking others in your life to help you when you need it, and trusting, even reveling in the realization that you are not alone, and you shouldn't be. So in Parshat Bo, the Israelites left Egypt as a community, and no one walked out of Mitzrayim alone. Healing, too, is that kind of a Mitzrayim. It's a communal process. And so I have experienced this firsthand over the past few days, how much it matters to know that people are thinking of me and praying for me and holding space for my recovery. And there's something profoundly sacred about being part of a community that witnesses our pain and responds with love. Healing doesn't always come from fixing what is broken. Sometimes it comes from knowing that others see the struggle. And they see it and they're willing to walk alongside you. Or maybe just sit with you and hold your hand. And just as the Israelites leaned on each other, we are invited to lean on one another when life becomes difficult. So I'm sure that each of us in this room can think of our own Mitzrayim, our own struggle that we have. I look around, and for some of you, you're nodding. Some of you, I know what the struggle is because you've shared it with me. Some of you I don't necessarily know, but maybe someone else in the room does, or someone in your life does. Whether it's your illness or your grief or your loss of a job or being the witness to struggles of someone else or something else. The illness or loss of a friend or a loved one, there is uncertainty, but we can know that we are not alone. That is what we know for certain. And so just as God guided the Israelites step by step toward freedom, we too are guided toward healing and renewal. And our tradition teaches that even in the wilderness, God's presence never leaves us. What does that remind you of? There's a prayer we've talked about, even in the darkest of times. God shelters us with peace. Sukkot shalom, a sukkah, a shelter of peace. And we also have a specific version of Hashkivenu, which we'll sing in a second. It's on page 160 if you want to turn to that now, that talks very, very profoundly of this. Page 160, 161. I know we already sang the Hashkivenu, but I'd like to sing it again because I think that right now it is an appropriate prayer for us to sing as I end this sermon and as we end and we go into our prayers for healing and for our community and for Israel as well. So let's turn together to page 160, 161. I'll have to turn back. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu, Lishalom. V'hamidenu, Malkeinu l'chaim. Ufrosleinu, Sukkot shlomecha. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Baruch atah Adonai, haborei Sukkot shalom. Aleinu ve'al amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Amen. And now we will turn back to our prayers. We will have a prayer for healing. And it's 371, is that correct? Okay. I'm getting it. I am getting it. It's happening. Soon I'll have every single page memorized. And then they'll change the Siddur. That's what will happen to me. Okay, so page 371. And I want to, there we go. I want to read the list first, and then I'll invite you to share if there's anyone who needs a prayer for healing. On our list tonight, we have Tony Lee, Hannah Levin, Valerie Horner, Rana Paquette, Jackie Farrell, Miriam Schneer, Avraham Leib, Louise Ziff, Richard McGinty, Morton Kaplan, Bonnie Levine, John Farrell, Lindsay Martin, Tamara Fishman, Martin Jean, Rabbi Jeffrey Ablasar, Igor Krahansky, Kevin Killip, Clara Lobach, Maya Claus, Susan Tuck Sweetman, Emmett McDonald, Glenn and Melanie Dunn, Sharon Schneer, Rebecca Chappas, Ginny Symbolist, Evgenia Davidok, Dina Fay, Ari Ben Sarah, Linda Stewart, Sandy Malowitz, Cheryl Nicole Wright, Colleen Halpern, Karen Devorah Bat Misodi Vinorman, Lori Curtis, Usher Yisrael, Ray Zoe, Nancy Meredith, Alana Bat Dora, Terry McCastiker, Dan Keeney. Oh, I'm sorry, we have to remove Dan, but we'll put him on the list for the yard sites. Samantha Locke, Alyssa Wright, Tammy, and also a woman who was a border control person this week. Her name is Melissa. I don't know her last name. I'm just going to call her Melissa at the border. She found out what I did for a living, because sometimes they ask, and she started crying, and she asked me to pray for her. And so I thought for the next month we would pray for Melissa at the border. We also have special prayers for safekeeping for all in Israel: Iris Kaver Berliner and family, Michael Orley Yuval and Noam Kessler, and all the soldiers, hostages, and those who have been released, and the family of Staff Sergeant Yishai Mann of blessed memory. We are on page 371. Yes, you have a name. I'm sorry. And then I actually have a name. So yes.
To add your name for starters.
Okay.
And a dear friend of mine is having a terrible time with her mom. She's been in and out of the hospital. They almost lost her twice, and now her mom's becoming very, very unpleasant, which is making this whole thing even harder for
Mm-hmm.
her. But her mom's name is Bee, and I promised her we would say
B.
a prayer for her mom, whose name is Bee.
Okay. B. We will pray for B, who's having a hard time. Okay. Is there anyone else? We don't want B to slip into the sea. Only when walking together, when it parts. Next week, Shirat Hayam, then maybe. Yes, Bela. Harry Indig. Okay, and who is that to you? Your cousin. Okay. I also want to share, we'll talk about Elaine Cohen passing away later, but I went over to the Cohens today and I saw Carl, and we sang the Mishaberach prayer together. And, he's a very private man. And I asked him if I could share with you all that he needs your prayers for healing, because his heart is hurting a lot and he's really struggling. And he said for the first time, yes, please. So we'll pray for Carl, and we'll pray for their whole family, that they will have healing. Elaine was a dear, wonderful woman, and she will be missed. All right, are you ready? Mishe berach avotenu mikor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishe berach imotenu mikor habracha la'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. May the one who has bestowed goodness upon us continue to bestow every goodness upon all of Israel and all the world forever. And we'll turn to page 377. And we continue to pray for Israel. Avinu Shabashamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'go'alo, Barek et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit Tzmitcha Geulatenu, Hagen aleha bevrat chazdacha, Ufros aleha sukat shlomacha, Ushlach orcha v'amidcha l'rasheha, Sareha v'yotzeha, V'taknem b'yatzat tova milfanacha, V'natata shalom ba'aretz, V'simchat olam le'yoshveha, V'nomar. Amen. Amen. Page 586. You can turn to that page and please rise. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latet gedulat liyotzeh bereshit, shelo asanu kegoye haratzot, v'lo samanu kamishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu kodim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל ושכינתו זו בגוב המרומים הוא אלוהינו אין עוד אמת מלכנו אפס עולתו ככתוב בתורתו וידעת היום והשבות אל לבבך כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. Page 590, I'll start there, and it goes into the same part, but כי המלכות שלך היא ולמעט תמלוך בכבוד, ככתוב בתורתך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. You should remain standing because we will turn to page 598 for our Kaddish. And I'll read our list, and then I'll ask if you have anyone to add. As I said that Elaine Cohen passed away, we're not saying Kaddish for her yet because her funeral is not until Sunday, but it is Sunday at 1:00 p.m., and it's at the Rachel Kaplan Chapel. And then we will have, it didn't say this in the announcement, but there's actually a dinner, early dinner, late lunch here at Bethel after the graveside service. So everyone is invited to come to that. And then she will have Shiva that evening. And so I invite you all to be with the family, and then starting next week we will begin saying Kaddish for Elaine. It is the first week of Shloshim for Ruth Ann Beckman and Sally Goldhar, and the second week of Shloshim for Lynn Berger. We also have Raisa Shapiro and John Klempner, who are in their final week of Shloshim. Yortzites tonight are Charlotte Bernstein, Sylvia Koppel, Robert Fenwick, who is the stepfather of Lorna Schulman, Hannah Gamerberg, Michael Gitlin, David Goldstein, John Kalbel, who is the father of Jim Katz, Moshe Kleinplatz, and is it Piffy Kleinplatz. I'd have to ask Maury. They're the grandparents of Maury Kleinplatz. Millie Morris, Joanne Morrison, the mother of Mark Morrison. Ben Paisner, Diane Silverstein, the cousin of Stephen Lutvak. I'm assuming Steve is on the Zoom, so we're with you, Stephen. Sam Warsh, the father of Rana Warsh and Alan Warsh. David Weingarten and Gertrude Weingarten. And is there anyone else who we should be saying Kaddish for tonight? Are we good? All right. Page 598. Yitgadal v'yit kadash shamei rabba. V'alma divra kirute v'amlich malchute. B'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dekol beit Israel. Ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevorach le'olam u'amei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shmei dekudsha berechu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nachemata ta'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'momav huya aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May their memory be for a blessing. Amen. All right. I think we are at the end of our service. You can be seated. I want to give us some announcements that Sarah has given to me. So we don't have Tat Shabbat tomorrow, no Tat Shabbat. And the families have been contacted, but if you know someone who had been planning to bring their Tat to Tat Shabbat and they weren't a regular, please let them know, because I would hate for them to go out in this weather and then not have anyone here. Sunday, February 2nd, there at 2 p.m., there's a Building Bridges speaker series on Zoom that's on our website, right, Sarah? They can find the information. And it's Rabbi Dan Moskovitz. He's a rabbi who's speaking on building bridges. You must register for this. I believe it is free of charge, though. Is that true? Okay. It's on our website. Monday, February 3rd at 7 p.m., we have the Hoover Academy Course 3 on Zionism. Again, that's on our website, and you must register. But I believe it is free, or it's very, very low cost. Wednesday, February 5th at 7 p.m., we have our book club on Zoom, and Stu Selby isn't here to tell us what the book is. But book club is Wednesday at 7 p.m. Saturday, February 8th is my birthday, and I will be 46 years old. And I don't feel like it right now, but so Saturday, February 8th is my birthday. It is also Parshat B'Shalach, which is the parting of the sea, which also happens to be the Parsha when I was born. And it doesn't usually line up like that, but this year it lines up. So what do I want for my birthday? Can you guess what I want for my birthday more than anything on Shabbat? February 8th, next week? No, that is not it. That is the wrong answer. Yes, Sarah knows exactly what it is. I want everybody to register and come to shul and daven with me. And we're going to have this great thing where we have the parting of the sea, and these girls and women are going to be up here, and we're going to be singing. And I have a guest rabbi friend. His name is Rabbi Yoni Dahlin, and he is going to come. My only fear with Rabbi Yoni Dahlin is that he will be up on this bima, and the congregation will fall in love with him and say, Devorah Shmorma, we don't need her anymore. We want Rabbi Yoni Dahlin because he is so wonderful. And I'm hoping that you appreciate him and his presence as much as I appreciate working with him.
All of these dates and everything is going to be
On your what?
E-blast.
On the e-blast. But I'm going to send out an email about this service next week, because it's going to be really fun. And then we'll have a lunch and learn afterwards. There'll be a lunch. It'll be great. Well, we have cake. We can do cake. Okay. We'll have cake just for Nels.
You're right, I was very wrong.
Yes, you were very wrong. I don't want to be left alone. I want you here. And I will have my favorite food in the world, which is Kiddush food, and I'll have a cake. And if there's anyone else whose birthday it is, we can celebrate them.
I asked a special favor.
Yes.
Special favor.
Yes.
In light of everything that's going on in the world, as Canadians, we are very distraught.
Mm-hmm.
Very distraught.
Yeah.
Worried out of my skin, actually.
Okay.
Anything you can say, I didn't expect it from this man.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? After I finish the last announcement, maybe we can have a special prayer. Would you like to do that? Just a prayer for Canada and our, yes, okay.
Knock some sense into the guy.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So next Sunday, February 9th at 9:30 a.m., we have our Tu B'Shvat at Blumen Gardner, and you must register. Does everyone know what the Blumen Gardner is? The Blumen Gardner is this nursery. I don't know. It's out on some concession road somewhere. It's not that far, but it's a really, really wonderful business who really loves to support the Jewish community. They're not Jewish, but they love the Jewish community. And so we're going to have our Tu B'Shvat celebration on February 9th at 9:30 a.m. So, but for those on Zoom or anyone in this room who didn't hear what Jack said that he's feeling upset about what's kind of going on in the world and with certain policies that are happening and political policies. And I generally don't talk much about politics other than what, as a Jewish people, we are experiencing. But if this is something that you would like me to address, I can address it. My husband said to me earlier today that, be careful when we're crossing the border because it might take a little bit longer. Gabrielle said it was a bit backed up at the border today. What?
I kind of know how they're working the rule.
Yeah.
When we're trying to go over there,
Yeah.
it's slowed right down.
We were 40 minutes from the bridge.
Yeah.
And our places are for us to go through, we zip through.
Mm-hmm.
But they're just blocking people.
Right.
Blocking people. I bet anybody in this room, just tell the truth when you're going across the border.
Yeah.
Because if you're making up a story,
Yeah.
it's going to drive
Dan is saying, for those on Zoom and the live stream, don't make up a story at the border. Don't ever make up a story at the border, but especially right now. I don't want to go too deeply into the politics of things, because those things can change. They can sometimes we don't understand things. What I will say is that we can have a prayer right now that God will guide the minds and the hearts of those who lead our country and that lead our neighboring country. And we actually have a prayer for our country in our Siddur. I'm not sure if we want to do that or if we want, Audrey, you can find it. But, I think that also this is to do with being good to one another and being good neighbors to one another and being kind and considerate to one another. And if we pray that God places in the hearts of everyone wisdom and understanding and kindness.
Yeah, it's on page 376
Okay, well, let's look at that.
for our country.
Yes. I don't want anyone to leave this place feeling anxious about anything. It's Shabbat, and so we should feel good that we are here in this warm place.
Well, let's just say it was a double-edged sword, because I was happy he won the election because of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Because I knew that was the right person to save Israel.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, he seems to want to be picking fights all over the world, and I don't get
Right.
it.
So I think what we can do is we can pray that God puts into the heart of our leaders a heart of kindness and peace. And we can pray for our country tonight. On page 376. All right. Yeah. I think it's that one, not the guardian of life and liberty. So it's the one at the top. So let's pray that together. We can pray it out loud. Thus says Adonai, this is what I desire, to unlock the fetters of wickedness and untie the cords of lawlessness, to let the oppressed go free, to break off every yoke. Share your bread with the hungry and take the wretched poor into your home. When you see the naked, give clothing, and do not ignore your own kin. If you banish the yoke from your midst, the menacing hand, the evil speech, if you offer compassion to the hungry and satisfy the famished creature, then your light shall shine in darkness. And may our light shine in darkness, especially this Shabbat. And may wisdom and peace grow in the hearts and minds of all in leadership of Canada and the United States and all countries around the world. And may a Sukkot Shalom be placed over Jerusalem tonight. Amen. All right. You're welcome. Okay, we have a kiddush. I'm going to say the kiddush, and then as I said, I am going to go home, and Gabrielle is going to take me home, but I want you to stay and schmooze late into the night. Sarah's shaking her head, but as you know, you can get a schmooze in. You can get a schmooze in, so it's good for you to talk and to have that, and I will start to stay with you again, but I want to take care of myself for the next few days. So I know, I'm afraid one of these days it's going to fall down. Screws loose. What can I say? Here we go. All right. We will turn to page 122. And I'm going to keep the plastic on so that the germs don't spread. I don't think I'm sick with anything, but we'll just, it's that time of year. Okay, we'll do that. All right. So page 122. Vayhi erev vayhi vavoker yom hashishi. The heaven and the earth, they were finished, and all their array. And on the seventh day, God finished the work that God had been doing. And God ceased on the seventh day from all the work that God had done. And God blessed the seventh day and declared it holy, because on it God ceased from all the work of creation that God had done. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron le'maaseh bereshit, ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh, zecher litziat mitzrayim, ki banu v'achata ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim, ve'shabbat kodshecha ve'ahava uvratzon hincheltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Amen. L'chaim. Okay. And I don't know what page the Challah blessing is on, but I don't think you need it. 606 if you need it. Or you can hum along or yididai along, because most people in the room will know it, and they'll sing it for you. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. She has read it cover to cover. Audrey is the best ritual chair ever. And I really appreciate you. Thank you, Sarah. Sarah is, yes, but Sarah is also the best of everything here in this place. And so thank you, Sarah, for your help tonight. Thank you to my friend, Rabbi Cantor Gabrielle Pescador, who came here to jump in if I needed some help tonight because I was worried about it. I think I did okay. And she's going to take me home because I can't drive right now. And thank you to everyone who is in the Zoom or on the live stream for davening with us, praying with us, being here with us in this place. And so I'm happy to see you all. All right, you may go. And I'm going to cut this a little bit, and I'll talk while I cut, and then I will leave. Oh, me? That I didn't respond to you? Yeah, but I think I'll be okay. I mean...